Hi everyone, today we're going to go through the demo of AWS DevOps training session. So today I'm going to be your trainer, so I'll give a little bit brief about my thing. So I'm a professional with 7 years of IT experience. So I started my career as a cloud DevOps engineer. So I'm totally into cloud and DevOps engineering. So I do have hands-on experience in managing the production systems. So especially in AWS and CI/CD tools and DevOps processes. So I having strong theoretical and practical knowledge is my main strong for me. I can say I do have expert level of subject knowledge in real time scenarios. It's not like where do we use a POCs and all, but I do have worked on production system, so I do have the more knowledge and in the real time how the scenarios goes and how do we work there. So it is going to be plus point for you people. Like I'm gonna share the real scenarios and practical examples in how in the companies they're gonna use the technologies and real use cases and types of other usage of the services, like where we can use the services for the better performance and all. So that will be the main advantage for you people. So this is a little about me. So today in the demo session, we are going to cover all these topics. Like I'm gonna go through the overview of the training index. So what we are gonna cover all everything in the throughout the demo. I'll give you a brief about the overview of the course, overall course. And coming to the tuition fee and payment plans, our team will update you on this particular thing for you. So you don't have to worry about that. So like after you enroll to our course, you will get access to webinars and self-paced learning videos as well. Other than these demo sessions, you will get also access to the there are we do have multiple learning videos available in the cloud. So we do give access to those libraries as well. So where you can check on yourself. Other than these demo sessions, I'll give you course outline little bit. So I'm not going to deep, but I'll give you a little bit about the course outline kind of. So I'll start when we start the course, right? I'll start with the AWS DevOps introduction. So I'll give you a brief about the AWS, like what is AWS and what is the uses of the cloud computing and AWS. So in the AWS, why do we have to use the DevOps? So what are the major advantages of using DevOps from the AWS service itself? Like instead of using the open source tools like Jenkins, and why we have to use tools like services available in the AWS. Those all advantages I'll explain. And so I can give you the brief about the AWS DevOps architect. So it's like I'll also give you the knowledge and architecture level. Let's say to design the pipeline, right? You people should also have the knowledge and the architecture somewhat, because I know architecture is different from DevOps, but you should also have the knowledge in the architecture. So I'm going to cover some of the architecture level sessions as well in our course. So I'll after that, once I give the introduction to you people, then we'll go into deep slowly. Like I'll give you the brief about the cloud technologies implementation, and I'll conduct practical sessions on technologies, DevOps technologies. So there we'll use two cases, like we'll use our own AWS services, and also we'll try to integrate those services with the open source tools like Jenkins and Docker, all those. So we do have multiple problem formulation strategies available here. So I'll teach you all of those throughout the cloud solution whatever we have now. So I'll try to cover all those things. So specifically I'll cover more in fault tolerant system and their usefulness. So because one of the main advantage of the cloud is fault tolerance. So I guess you guys know that. So that I'll cover more into that particular topic in the course. So after we are done with the course, I'll conduct some practice tests, and we'll also conduct some mock interviews. So those interview questions and practical tests will share once we finish with the session. So as part of our AWS DevOps course, right? So I'm going to cover all generic services in the AWS. So but adding to those generic services, I'm going to add these services as well. So these are the main topics for our AWS DevOps talk is. So these are the services I'm going to cover, like mainly if you can see AWS code pipeline, code build, code deploy. So these particular services are belongs to the pipeline service itself. So these are equivalent to the open source tools like Jenkins, Ansible, and those tools. So it is equivalent to those services. So this amplify, app sync, and cloud formation, I'll cover these three services as part of the serverless part. So in our course, we are going to cover two types of pipeline strategies here. So one is serverless and one is normal server based architecture pipelines. So these three services I'll cover as part of the serverless architecture. So this EC2, RDS, SES, SNS, and these all services I'll cover as part of the server-based architecture pipelines, and I'll give you the little bit introduction to the shell scripting. So I do have a very good knowledge in shell scripting. So I'll give you a little bit like I can make you learn simple shell scripting loops and everything. So I'm not going to go into the deep in the shell scripting, but I'll give you the overall overview and general introduction to the scripting. So you'll get good idea on that. So I'll give you the like who don't have the Linux basics also, right? So I'll try to give Linux basics for you before starting this because that is mandatory. So you should be able to understand what is happening in the background. Even we are using the cloud technologies, right? So if you have the like knowledge on the Linux OS, so you'll get to know like more deep into the process how it's happening. So we'll cover Git and Docker as well. So adding to these topics. So the projects, right? So as I mentioned before, so we are going to cover two types of the projects here. So AWS DevOps for serverless environment, and another one is AWS DevOps for regular environments. So I mean to say, like, let's say you are having the application, right? So let's say you have a simple application. So if you wanted to deploy it to AWS, you can do it in a two ways. So for example, you can create one server from the scratch for yourself, and you can deploy the services into the servers for yourself, and you can deploy the final package into the servers, and you can make the DB connections and everything for yourself. So that is one type. So there is also another way, like there is another serverless framework is available in the AWS. When I say serverless framework, it's going to be the services only end of the day. But the thing is, they are like ready to use services. Let's say like if you wanted to build a job, right, in a pipeline job. So if you go through the regular environment process, you'll have to launch a server and install the required services and everything, and finally you have to create the jobs and you have to do all the settings. So if you take in the serverless framework example, you can use the same thing using the code pipeline within 5 minutes. So they'll provide you everything. Only thing is you have to do the configurations for your requirements. So it will be easy. So I'm gonna cover the both the projects, not an issue. So like we'll first go with the like AWS developer for serverless environment. So there what we'll do, I'll give you the brief about how to create a serverless environment in AWS. So first we'll create environment, then we'll go to the manual process. Then I'll create a pipeline to how to automate this entire process, like building the application and deploying the applications and distributing applications. So all those life cycles we are going to cover in the as part of the serverless environment. So coming to the second one, so same thing. I'll conduct a sessions on how do we can create the regular environment. I mean to say like EC2 servers, RDS servers, your database servers, and SNS notifications, and how do you integrate all those together. So we're going to cover all those things. So once we done building with the infrastructure, I'm gonna cover how do we build a pipelines for that existing environment. So how do you automate the deployment process using different type of the services. So we are going to cover all those in the regular environment. So for the lab setup, right? So you should be having these prerequisites to run this lab setup. So you should have the high-speed internet, but a stable internet connection, even if it's a medium. And you should have an desktop or laptop to access the lab setup easily. And you should have the OS like Windows 7 or above. It will be better if you have like Windows 10 or something. And you need at least 500 GB hard disk to for the better performance to like go with the lab. So it's recommended to have the 16 GB memory and CPU, focus CPU, because we are going to like cover multiple lab session. So for that, you will be needing this all. So as I said, after the completing our course, right? So once we're done with the course, we're going to conduct mock interviews. So how we'll go with that is like we will give you the general topics like what you have to cover before the interviews. So you can go through the topics and you can prepare yourself for the topics, the given topics. Then we will give you the intimation before conducting the mock interviews, and we'll conduct the mock interviews. So in the mock interviews, we're going to ask the real-time questions like which you will face when you go to the job interview in the real IT market. So it's not kind of like we're going to ask some random questions like that, but based on our experience, like as we served many students already, so we do have like a large database of questions. Like so we pick some of the high priority questions, and we pick the some important questions, and we do have already like multiple mock interview models. So we will conduct those mock interviews, and we'll make sure like you will be able to answer for everything, for at least for the concept wise. So in the mock interview sessions, right? So one is will be conducting face-to-face interview, face-to-face mock interviews. I mean to say like Zoom sessions we can conduct that. So for one-to-one person, and there will be another type of mock interviews. So where we will give you the test. So in the test they will be having the questions like multiple choice of questions. So where you will have to select the correct answers for the given question like that. So in the mock interviews, mainly like we are going to focus on the face-to-face interviews, but because in the outside world, when you go in for the real interviews, you're going to face the same situation there. So we are going to cover all the important topics and important questions here, and also we'll explain about the real-time scenarios, like how we'll cover in the interviews and all. So after we completing with our course, you can apply to these particular certifications in the AWS. So mainly you can go with the AWS Certified DevOps Engineer Professional Certificate. So for before going for this one, you'll have to complete your sysops and you have to complete your partitioner certificate first. So after that, you can apply to the certificate for the DevOps Engineer Professional Certificate. So actually, like as per the topics we are going to cover in this particular course, right? So you can be able to apply for all these certificates available in the market right now. So you can go with the AWS certified DevOps Engineer Professional Certificate, and you can also go with the certified sysops administration associate. Why associate? Because our main goal is to cover the DevOps processes, right? So in the DevOps processes, you can go with the professional certificate in the AWS. So also we are going to cover like some of the Linux fundamentals and OS related topics, and also we are going to cover architecture level topics, right? So for those two certificates, you can apply for the associate certificates as well. So I suggest you to go with the first AWS practitioner certificate. So once you complete with that, you can go with the AWS certified DevOps Engineer Professional Certificate. So then you can go with the certified sysops administrator and certified solution architect associate certificates. So why mainly I'm saying DevOps Engineer Professional is, if you check our slides on the second page. So as you can see in the course resources section here, so mainly we're going to cover these topics. So these three topics: AWS code pipeline, code build, code deploy. These all topics are mainly into DevOps processes in the AWS section. So we are going to like cover all other services related to these pipeline services. So let's say when we are going to build the pipeline, right? So as part of the pipeline, we are going to add the build section where we use the AWS code build there, and as part of the deploy section, we use the code deploy. So along with the services, we will use like multiple other services, like let's say example S3 bucket. So where you use a S3 bucket for storing your artifacts in the build stage, and later you can use the same artifacts in the deploy stage. So in that level, we are going to overall we are going to cover almost like more than 10 to 15 services in the AWS. But the main thing is we are going to integrate all those services using this code pipeline, code build, and deploy, right? So where we'll get the like services like ECS and ECR, like mainly we'll use the ECR here. So that is like like AWS container register. It's similar to Docker technology. So we are going to cover that one as well in the our sessions. So main thing is we are going to cover all the services related to the DevOps mainly in the AWS session, AWS DevOps. So that's why I'm saying like after completing the partitioner thing, you can right away go with you can go with the AWS DevOps professional certificate. So because we will be like covering almost 99% services of the AWS services available in the AWS platform. So that will be better if you people go with the DevOps certificate first. So later we can go with the all associate certificates I mentioned. So for example, like we're going to like cover this Linux basics and basic shell scripting, right? So adding to those, I'm going to cover EC2 and RDS and all SAS SNS servers. So this will be helpful when you apply for your CSAP certification and architecture certificates. So mainly for the architecture certificates, you'll have to focus on like all the services. So it's mainly about integrating all the services. Like how do you design your environment. So anyway we're going to cover that one as well. Like what is the best choice for the applications when you're choosing your architecture. So for example, like how do you choose your architecture for a one tier application and two tier application. So when I say one tier application, I doesn't it's mean like in one server you're going to have all the application server and web server and database server, like that will be the one tier. So in the two tier where you are going to use separate services or separate servers for these two technologies, like these two front end and back end services. So there will be three tier architecture as well. So we are going to cover all those. So you're going to get good knowledge on architecture level also. So that's why I'm encouraging you to apply for associate certificate for architecture as well. So so mainly like we're focusing to DevOps process in the AWS. So you can apply for this professional certificate, and as I mentioned, CSAPs and solution architect, you can go with the associate. So once we complete with our course, right? So we're going to give you a completion certificate. It's better like after completing the certificates, you can mention all these together in your resume. So it's going to add the value to your resume. So mainly like if you're a certified engineer, right? So if you have the certificate from the AWS, right? This professional DevOps engineer. So like there will be more than 80% extra chances you're going to be get selected. So mainly when the HR people look at the resumes, right? So they'll prefer certified people over the normal people. So even when you have the knowledge, but if you don't have the certificates, so you may get like while picking the resume, they may like disqualify you. I mean, they may won't pick your resume. So adding like doing the certificates will add more value to your resume, and there will be more high chances in getting interview calls and all those things. So there will be so many benefits to having the certification. So I strongly encourage you to complete the certification as soon as we done with our course. So you can add these certificates, and as well as you can add this course completion certificate as well. Yeah, thanks, Janice. So this is all for our session today. So after completing our course, you can give your share your feedback, and like if you have any other queries after the session, like after the session, you can contact to our team. So they'll be in touch with you anyway. So they'll give you the more brief about cost and payment options and everything. So they'll give you the brief about schedule, classes schedule and everything, and you can contact them. Like they'll mail you to your given mail ID. So you can reply to those mail, and they'll also mention their phone number, contact number there. So you can directly call them and check with them if you have any queries and doubts regarding the course. And also you can check with them like if it is any related to payment and any other queries, you can check with them. Yeah, thanks guys. That's all for our session today. Thank you for attending the demo.